Mike, most people who watch us, most people who engage with us have the same problem that they tell us, and that is that they have no time. They want their business to change, but they don't have the time to put into doing that. They're so stuck in the day to day. What do you say to these people? Can you help them?
Yes, in fact, we are going to go through that. But it's interesting just to talk about this time thing for a minute. Like, is that it's not just time, is it? It's headspace as well.
Yeah.
I am so busy, I can't even think. I think anyone can find half an hour. I mean, come on, really. What you can't find is half an hour when everything else is out your head and you can just focus on doing something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Or that thing where you take a day off, say, but you still have to take your mobile phone with you. Or you go on holiday and you still have to take your laptop and do a bit in the morning. And you might not think that's a big deal, but every time you do that, your head goes back to England or wherever you happen to be based, and that's not really what you want. So this is about freeing up time for sure, but it's also about freeing up headspace, either for yourself and your family or for something bigger. Have you heard the expression, and I know you have, when you're up to your arse in alligators, it's difficult to remember that you were there to drain the swamp? Well, draining the swamp is the big picture, building the business that's going to make you wealthy, give you that great lifestyle that you want. The alligators are the things that keep you in the here and now. Good things and bad things. They just keep coming up and you just deal with them. Normally, you get that little spurt. What's the feel good?
Dopamine, is it? Or serotonin?
Dopamine. Yeah, you get a little burst of dopamine because you get an email. Bing! Oh, right, I'll answer that. I feel good. I've done that, right?
Or you make a placement. That's the other thing. If you're still in the day-to-day and you place someone, you think,
man, yeah, there's no better feeling, is there? Well, there isn't. So those are all alligators. Or someone coming in and they've just resigned. Well, that's the here and now, right then, isn't it? You've got to deal with that right then. That's fine. But what you need to do is free yourself a little bit of those. And you remember, the more you work on your business today, the less you work in your business tomorrow. And that's where we're at. So we're going to do this in 2 stages. We're going to look, first of all, at a way of examining your time and assessing your time and beginning to think about what you do when you go to work every day. It's the second of the main core mission that you have as a person, a business owner, and that is the freedom when you go to work to do the things you like, the things you're good at, and the things that have the biggest impact. So shall we look at that now?
Let's.
So imagine everything that you do each week is made up of $1,000 tasks, $100 tasks, $10 tasks, and $0 tasks, right? And I'm going to define those for you now and then tell you what to do with them. So $1,000 tasks are crucial. Either only you can do them because of your unique skills and experience or knowledge or your network or something, or your position, your power within the business, or you do them because if someone gets it wrong, that's like really bad news. So, for example, you would always do cash management because damn, if that goes wrong, you ain't got a business, right? So here's some examples. And that is mainly the $1,000 tasks that a business owner would have. By the way, I'll put all of these up and you can do a little screen snap at the end, and then you've got them then, right? So it's this kind of stuff. It's winning and looking after your high value clients. The 4 M's are, if I can remember these, making the team, managing the team, motivating the team, and maximizing the value from the team. And that team doesn't all have to be internal. That's an extended team. It can be external people as well. Company governance is just like looking at your management reports and making sure your debtor list is done, all that malarkey. Strategy and planning, that's working on your business for sure. That is looking at what you want to achieve in the business, how you're going to achieve it, the goals that you've set yourself. And then there's the business change part where you actually make the changes, right, to the business. We actually physically go about, it takes time to do that, right? Then you've got personal development for yourself, feed yourself with new ideas and new ways of looking at it. And then you've got major purchases.
I think it's so interesting because commonly most of those are the ones that aren't getting done when people are stuck in their business. These are $1,000 tasks. I think they're the most important. That's why they're $1,000, but they're the ones that fall by the wayside the quickest.
Yeah, very often. I mean, you could go through all of those and look at the minimal for each one, like the minimal amount of governance, for example, on your business. Will you do it? The minimum amount of stuff you do with your team. You know, because we get dragged mainly into the $100 task. So let's look at those next, shall we? So $100 task is important, it is crucial, but you can delegate it to qualified people, either inside your business or outside of your business, provided there's some decent training and a reasonable handover period, right? So here are some examples. So you can see what they are. I mean, they are all important because it's where the money comes from, right? But in many cases, those things don't get done, like marketing, for example, or client care gets pushed out often. Support services, by the way, are things like HR, legal, accounts and finance, IT. They need to be done. They're really, really important, but you shouldn't do them yourself. The management of that, so that comes back to corporate governance, the management of the support services falls under corporate governance. So you know what the heck is going on, but not the doing of it. Someone else does it because you've outsourced it. So as you can see, they're really, really important. But often wise, certainly when you start up, you're doing all of these tasks, but you're certainly doing a lot of $100 tasks. And the idea is to get rid of those first so you can spend more time on the $1,000 tasks. Now, let's look at the $10 ones. These are necessary, but you can easily delegate them or outsource them, right? And you could get yourself a VA or offshore or onshore. You could hire yourself a PA like I've got and just push things out to them. And the more you work with them, the more they can do these things. But here are some examples, right? Just your general admin and updating CRM. I don't really do that. If I'm speaking to somebody, you know, I might do a little message for Mel and she just goes out and puts it in. And when she logs people from LinkedIn onto CRM, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened. And Rakshita in India does a lot of that work for me. Diary management. I don't make appointments. Occasionally I do, I suppose, but mostly she does that for me. Email list if you've got one.
So again, you normally get in trouble when you try and manage your own diary.
I do. Yes, yeah. I do. That she doesn't like that because it's her diary really that I happen to be in. She's, you know, one of those things. Email list, and of course minor purchases. I don't really know half the things she buys. I don't really care. So the $10 tasks, you need to get rid of those. Let me just finish before we come back and let's look at the $0 tasks. Because people say, well, I don't do any of those. Yes, you bloody do. They're a waste of time. They're an indulgence. That's something you like doing and have fooled yourself into thinking that it's important that you do it, but really you just like doing it, right? You feel an obligation. So someone says, would you mind doing this? You know, we should say is no, or not this time, but maybe next time, or I can't do it, but someone else can do it, or something. Be courageous, do the brave thing, but don't do it because it'll just burn time. And then there's this misunderstanding of important. So people think it's important, but it actually isn't, right? And I'll drill that down for you. I'm going to summarize that, Kirsty, in one sentence. And here it is. Check it out.
It's a very good way of doing it.
That's it, really. And it's spending time with people, and they're endothermic. So exothermic means they give out more energy. They give more than they take. Endothermic is the opposite.
Energy vampires.
They are vampires here. Vanillas, vampires, and vaults. They are very definitely vampires. And we know who they are, and we know what they want us to do. And we shouldn't do it, right? So if you look at that now, what's on the screen, Kirsty, you can see that if you were smart on saying no, and if you were smart on delegating or outsourcing, it's the same thing, really. I think the modern term is smart sourcing, isn't it? I think anyway.
Yeah.
But if you smart source what you can, gradually you can not only make time, which is relatively easy, but if you delegate authority and you rely on your corporate governance, your company governance, in other words, looking at the dashboards to know what the heck is going on, then you can also delegate responsibility along with your authority. So this is about freeing up time and headspace, and this will do this for you. Now, what I need you to do when you watch this video, take a screen snap of that. Tell you what, put it back on full screen, Kirsty, so they haven't got our ugly mugs on it. Take a screen snap of that, and you just need to plot over a month how you spend your time. Put in how much you spend doing $1,000 tasks, how much you spend doing hundreds, tens, and zeros. Be brutal. And also, if you need to add other activities in there that I've missed out, that's absolutely fine. You just put those onto an A4 sheet, add the extra ones that you want, and then just record the time underneath. And you will see where it's being spread. And what you need to do is ship it to the left. We need more $1,000 tasks and less of the others. Eventually, we want to get rid of the zeros and the tens. Well, you never get rid of the zeros, sadly, fully. want to reduce them, and we want to reduce the tens, and then we want to reduce the hundreds, and then eventually we just want to be doing the thousands. It took me 7 years to just do $1,000 tasks. Oh, and play golf, actually, for what it's worth.
Is that a $0 task?
I think it probably is.
I really like that way of looking at it, because it gives you a real understanding of what you are doing versus what you should be doing. But Mike, that actually doesn't help me to create more time, because things like delegation takes time that I currently don't have. So I can't actually delegate tasks, or I can't get rid of those $100 because I don't have time to train up the person to do so. So just because I know that doesn't mean I'm actually in the space to actually have the time now.
Okay, let's just bring that up for a second. Bring the screen back up for a second. Let's just take a quick look at this, if you can. Right, so business change is the thing where you make changes to the business. That's where you start to delegate tasks. That's where you start to hire people. Well, that's the 4 M's. That's where you're starting to expand your team so you can ship things down. But those are $1,000 tasks, so you might not have time for that. So what I'm going to do now is show you a simple little process called colored time. I don't have the opportunity now to go into it to the depth that I would like, but this is going to be enough. This here is a rather blurred out snapshot of my diary for week commencing the 5th of June, right? As you can see, it's got gaps in it, which is fine because I need gaps in my day. But there are some big blocks of things that are already in there. And those are really important things that I need to do, okay? Now, let me tell you this. You need to start blocking out in your diary certain amounts of time for your $1,000 tasks. Let the $100, the $10 take care of themselves to begin with. Be aware of what you're spending on that, in those areas, but predominantly make sure, we call it a balanced diet. So you need a good mixed diet of $1,000, $100, tens and zeros. Well, not many zeros really. But as Kirsty said earlier, or you said earlier, Kirst, it's $1,000 tasks that get pushed out because they're the ones not making the money really. But ultimately, they're the ones that will give you what you want from your business. So make sure that goes in the diary. Now, what I do is Melanie, my PA, puts those in for the next 2 months. So if I looked at, well, that's June already, but if I looked at July as well, they're in. And all I do is fill them in. So, oh, a bit of time here to work on my business. That's purple time, right? Okay, there's no purple time there, you can see. A little bit of purple time. So I got 3 hours of that. So I'll decide what I'm going to do in that purple time well before, and I'll just add it to the actual appointment. So I know what I'm going to do. Got it planned out, got a plan anyway, and I'm going to do it in that time. If you do it that way, I promise you'll accelerate your change faster. And you won't look back at the end of the month and think, oh man, where did that time go? Because you'll just get through exactly the same, but you'll now get through more of those $1,000 tasks. And those are the ones that will move you from where you are now to where you want to be.
And Mike, on that, one of our clients, his purple time that he created was a Saturday morning, wasn't it? His kids were still asleep or they were at clubs or something. And so Saturday morning for a couple of weeks, he took, a couple of hours and did purple time. And then before you know it, his purple time's now in the week now.
Well, it was a private client, and not everyone does it this way. A couple have done it this way, actually. I asked him what he did, could he find the time? Because if you don't find the time, you're not going to change. So there's no point doing the project. And he said, well, the only time I can do it really at the moment, I'm so flat out, is I'll just take from 7 till 10 on a Saturday because kids don't get up. I'll get up early. I'm an early riser anyway. I'll just get up and nail it. And he did it for about 3 months in the end. And then because of the changes we made, he freed up a little bit of time in the week, and he's repurposed that for purple time. Although I believe he still used to get up on a Saturday and do the odd few bits because he got into that habit, but he didn't need to. He just did it by choice, really.
Yeah, I think that's the power, is that change happens with time quicker than people probably think it does.
Just one quickly as well. Do you remember Dan, who came on the program, who from day one just said Fridays? Yeah, Fridays is I'm working on the business. It's purple.
Every week, didn't he? We were like, oh.
Yeah. $1,000 task. He did it, nailed it, and it made a huge difference. I mean, he's organised a slightly bigger company and he could do that, but you do what you can do, I suppose, is the key message.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, found it useful. Might be worth a rewatch, because don't forget, what you need to do is first of all realise how much money you're spending in each of those 4 columns, and then put a bit of coloured time to get a few more guaranteed $1,000 tasks into your month. If you've enjoyed this video, then hey, look, you know, I'd love a comment or a question down below. Be brilliant. If you want to get more of these, then just click on the subscribe and the bell to make sure that you do. Between now and the next one, look after yourselves and keep slogging on. Get those $1,000 tasks in. See you next time.